Hi Matthew, I'm going to be doing the video response for today's week. And like always, I always break down the papers starting from beginning to end and comparing how we wrote our paper or contrasting it as well. Okay, so for the first one, I just want to say you introduced the subject so cool and so creatively and kind of brought like almost a flashback of what we learned in the very beginning of class, and that's where Latinos are where how Latinos populated the US. And as mentioned in the very beginning of class, most Latinos are populated in the border of the US, such as New York, Texas, and California. But then you open up the conversation very neatly with the Midwest by connecting it to this type of demographic of Latinos. And that was really cool. You said, you know what? Hey, I know it's mentioned that they populate on those areas, but they're also very prominent in the Midwest, and this is their story. And continue on to how Mexican Americans came to Kansas City. You talked about how profound the railroads are and how not only did it provide income and also increase its economic standpoint there in that area, but it was also part of how they stayed in this area as well. Um, and you also said that there was discrimination, and you based it on how they were underrepresented in the census and their participation in this area. Another note that I wanted to add is that they were also discriminated through public housing and public spaces, and that's also something to be noted in how the political climate was at this time, specifically targeted to minorities who are Mexican American. Um, so yeah, moving on to the third paragraph, sorry. Moving on to the third paragraph, talking about the difference in generations. We both talked about the same thing. We talked about the three things that were mentioned in the text that heavily differentiate first generation from second to third generation, and that's the cultural norms, class membership, and experiences. And I was not surprised to see this. I'm taking Latino psychology with Miss Pino, and you see how this could be, I guess, a source of tension with assimilation and acculturation. Uh, Obviously, different resources provided to them and different experiences provided with time will change the way that people live in that area. Obviously, older generations have uh, had more time and had different resources to assimilate to the population that is there, the majority of the population being American, and having more time to learn the language, having more time to climb up the social ladder, you could say, with economic gain and jobs, something that might be a little bit different and a little bit harder for younger generations that are arriving to this area, that also want to climb up and build their own businesses, but also find it kind of hard to learn the language and stuff like that. And that was very neat. Uh, to for me, I guess, in a way, to connect that with other previous stuff that I've learned. And then I also wanted to add by saying that even though there was differences in generations, uh, there was also a sense of trying to make people belong in the area, such as creating bilingual newspapers and radio stations to really cater for the Latino population in their language. And that was also pretty neat to see that in the text. Uh, Last paragraph, which is talking about the film, for me, what I noticed is that you went further in depth than what I did. You really understood the video a little bit more than I did. I honestly believe, uh, and I really like the fact that you mentioned that a line that was very prominent in the film or the video, I could say, and it's that they overcame stigma by excelling in America's sport, and that really shows that even though people had already a predisposed definition of Mexican Americans, they really tried to push that type of ideology and I guess, confinement of image, that they could excel in other things. They could excel in America's sport and really thrive in that recreational sport, and not only, I guess, speak into existence who they are as people, but also introduce a prideful and also cultural aspect to it, as they pay homage to a sport that was created back then from their ancestors, and it's still continuing on today in that present area, and as a form of tradition. And I that's something that I liked about the film. Other than that, I just want to leave the video by saying, I hope that you're having a great time. I mean, that was worded really weird. I hope you're having a good stay with your parents, with your family, at this very difficult and very unusual time. Um, Sending a lot of prayer down your way. Uh, please stay positive. Try to keep your mind occupied. If you need anything, hello, hit me on GroupMe. um, but yeah, like, I just really wanted to end the video on a positive note. I hopefully this isn't affecting you so bad, and if so, really, again, sending prayer down your way. Hoping that this would end soon. And yeah, I love your paper as always. Can't wait to read more, and I hope you're doing okay. Take care of your mental health, stay positive, and that's it. All right. Bye.